Hi, my name is Fabia Jeddere Fisher, and I'm here to talk to you about developing your online voice for teaching and how that voice is there to help create the learning environment. Now, this is completely intended. I have quite a blank screen right now. I'm showing you a profile picture of what we would quite typically see from our students as they're starting to join our online classrooms. And they haven't yet put a photo of themselves and they're not sharing their video. So I'm now doing the same with you. This can be quite uncomfortable sometimes when we can't see the person's face and it really limits that amount of interaction. But that is exactly why we then need to spend time using our voice to create that interaction. Now, I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to leave this screen on for a long time. So trust me, you can now look away from the screens. So over the summer, I did some research on how the voice can be used in this way, and I led a peer group, a small group, about 5 or 6 of us, and we shared ideas and we did some practices together. And by learning together as a peer group, we really unraveled some of the barriers around using our voice and some of the potentials and opportunities here. Because we have a real barrier with our lack of face to face teaching. This is really limiting our ways of creating connections with our students because our students do have to trust us. They have to have their confidence in us when we're teaching. So I have to use my voice to build that trust and confidence. We spoke a lot over the summer in our peer group of when we're using our voice almost like an actor or as a performer, and when we're using our voice actually to expose ourselves and show these true vulnerabilities. So we talked to this is our balance between authenticity and authority. So we talked about how this we're constantly moving between these two spaces. So one other thing I'm going to do before I move on, and I will show you some slides, another benefit of taking the advantages of the fact we're not all in a teaching room together, we're not in a conference room together. I'm now going to illustrate my point not with slides, but with action. And so the first one I want you to do is put your hand, the palm of your hand against your forehead. You know where your third eye is on the middle of your forehead, where it's talking about mental blockage or it's talking about insights and it's talking about vision there. This point there, this action, your palm to your forehead, this is what I want you to think about of your vocal confidence. Your vocal confidence is you confronting the sound of your voice. This is a new aspect to online teaching. We are recording so much of our voices that then we have to hear our voices back as they are recorded. Now, this is a physiological difference. Our ears are never meant to hear our voice as a person hears it from a distance away. Our ears are connected to our bodies, and so we have different vibrations that send signals, sound signals to our brains. So when we hear our recorded voices for the first time, we are confronted by how we actually sound to the people that we're talking to. So for the first time, this can be very uncomfortable for people. But you have to use some of that clever neural plasticity that we have in our brains to reconnect and realize that our voices sound brilliant. Our voices sound wonderful because they are us. And so doing that vocal confrontation, that voice confrontation can really help build your voice confidence. So I encourage the peers in our group to record themselves as often as possible, even just like making little memo notes and listening themselves back so they feel really confident with how they sound. Okay, so that's the first one, vocal confidence. The second one, I now want you to put your palm, the palm of your hand, just below your rib cage on your diaphragm, on your belly, if you're not sure where that is. Now, this is the diaphragm. This is really the center of how we're having nice, calm, deep breaths. And really, with those calm, deep breaths, we're really in control of our voices. And so, this second one is our vocal resilience. We have some tough timetables ahead of us with long teaching sessions, lots of pre recorded sessions. And if we're doing them under heightened anxiety, then actually we are going to be putting strain on our voices. So we need to spend time on the vocal resilience. strategic breathing, so we're getting full, deep diaphragm breaths, so that our heart rate slows down, so our body and our muscles relax, so that we can get that nice, clear voice out in a nice, calm way. And all of that as well with the calm voice, it actually lowers your pitch. So we spent a bit of time in our peer group exploring the different ways that we describe voices through pitch and tone and timbre. Now, when you have a calm body, your pitch of your voice lowers, and that lowering of the pitch of your voice helps bring a sense of calm and control. Now, if there's anything that our students want to feel when they enter our online learning environments, it's to feel that they are entering a calm and controlled learning space. And then the last one, I want you to put the palm of your hand on your chest, so when your heart is. So for this one, I want this one to represent your vocal interaction. We should always be remembering with our hearts that we are speaking to other people. It might feel like we're not, but oh yes, we are. And so as much as possible, remembering this is a vocal interaction. This is the dawn of communication. This is the turn taking. Now, I'm talking as a pre-recorded, so I know you're not going to actually speak back, but I will pause and I will show you that there are ways that I'm going to try and listen to you, even if this is a pre-recorded. It might be rhetoric questions where I will answer those own questions to imagine what you might say, or it might be just taking these what I've called the oral breath. So oral with an AU, the oral is in your ears, are taking a breath. Because if I've explained something, I know that the ears of the listener need to take time to breathe and make sense of what I've just said. So now I am going to move on to slides. You'll also see that I've now turned the camera on. So I can now say, hi, this is what I look like, and this is what the background is in my shot of the video. This is strategic for me to close the camera down when I can talk in a much more relaxed way. And now when I choose to open the camera up and look at you, the black dot that I've got in my video camera. So now if we bring this into the pedagogy of higher education learning environments, I chose to use the community of inquiry model to help look through this in a bit more detail as to what we meant by the online voice. And I found it fascinating to really pick up on this, that it's not the teacher presence, it's the teaching presence. So we can still be present as our students are learning, if it's just through a pre-recorded material or through a guided task. So that was really important to remember. And then what I did with the categories and the indicators, I tried to put in here what the indicators might be for our voice. So we're looking at the social presence, showing your human side, your pitch pattern as you get expressive and excited about an aspect, and using personal connections, so as much as possible using names, examples from the group, responding to chat. And then with the cognitive presence, using different voices to show different opinions conflicting. Pause for thought, show the storytelling, and showing that voice to express doubt and curiosity, because that can help with them, guiding them through their process of learning. And then lastly, with the teaching present, it's really opening and closing your learning environment confidently and clearly, showing that control of the virtual space, setting rules and boundaries so that they know when they can ask questions and when their questions are going to be answered. Setting those rules and boundaries will help everybody feel comfortable in that learning environment. So what we did, as I said, over the summer we had 3 45-minute sessions. This was a peer support group. This could be really easily modelled in other teaching teams or other faculties and departments. Each session was started with a pre-recorded video to watch, and that pre-recorded video showed them some discussion points. And then in the 45-minute sessions, it's just discussing with your peers. And we also spent time on what I called the vocal gymnastics, linguistic acrobatics, because our whole bodies are being used here when we're using our online teaching, online voice for teaching, whether it's our lips, our tongues, our throats, our chests with the breathing. So if we don't regularly exercise those muscles, then when we really need them for the intense online teaching, then they're not going to be ready. And the last bit was we set some self-study tasks and exercises, and then there was time for one-to-one feedback. So participants in the peer group CPD were actually able to come away with their own personal action plan, which was relevant for them. So I hope that you have found this talk useful, and I'm really happy to share experiences and hear from other people as well. Thank you very much for listening. Bye.